This podcast is sponsored and brought to you by HealthShare Integrated Solutions.
Mr. Nsima had always been a diligent and ambitious banker. For over 3 decades, he worked in a bustling financial institution, climbing the ranks with each passing year. His daily routine revolved around long hours at his desk, attending to clients, analyzing financial data, and overseeing transactions. The bank's office was equipped with state-of-the-art technology, but one thing it lacked was the encouragement for physical activity. Like many of his colleagues, Mr. Nsima spent most of his workday sitting, often for over 8 hours at a stretch. In the early years, it didn't seem to affect him much. He was young, energetic, and focused on his career goals. However, as the years passed, Mr. Nsima started to notice subtle changes in his health. His back ached occasionally, his energy levels seemed to dip by midday, and his clothes felt tighter around the waist. Still, the demands of work kept him on his feet, constantly meeting deadlines, preparing reports, and attending meetings. He didn't have time to think about his health. His diet consisted of quick snacks, often pastries or fried foods from the cafeteria, and he relied heavily on caffeine to keep him alert. Exercise was something he'd long put off, telling himself he'd have time for it after retirement. When Mr. Nsima finally retired at the age of 60, he was excited about the prospect of having more time for family and personal interests. But retirement didn't bring the freedom he anticipated. Without the structure of work, his days became long and sedentary. He spent most of his time watching television, reading, or sitting in his favorite chair, reminiscing about his career. His diet didn't improve either. He continued to indulge in rich foods and snacks, often out of boredom. Without the hustle and bustle of his banking job, there was no reason to rush, no need to get out of the office for a walk. Slowly but surely, Mr. Nsima found himself slipping into unhealthy habits. Within a year of retiring, Mr. Nsima's health began to deteriorate. He gained weight, his blood pressure rose, and he developed constant headaches. His doctor diagnosed him with type 2 diabetes, citing his poor diet and lack of physical activity as major contributors. Mr. Nsima, who had once been proud of his work ethic and success in the banking world, now faced a different kind of challenge, reversing the effects of a sedentary lifestyle. His cholesterol levels were high, and he had trouble moving around without feeling winded. The very habits he had neglected over the years had caught up to him. Realizing that he needed to make a change, Mr. Nsima embarked on a journey to reclaim his health. He started with small steps, going for short walks around the neighborhood, cutting back on processed foods, and visiting the doctor regularly for checkups. He joined a local gym and took swimming lessons, rediscovering the joy of movement that had eluded him for so many years. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when he wanted to give up. But Mr. Nsima learned that the road to recovery was about consistency, not perfection. Slowly, he began to lose weight, his blood sugar levels stabilized, and his energy returned. Mr. Nsima's story serves as a reminder of the long-term consequences of a sedentary lifestyle, especially in high-pressure careers like banking. It's a cautionary tale about how the habits we form during our working years, often prioritizing work over physical health, can come back to haunt us later in life. But it's also a story of redemption. Even in retirement, it's never too late to make positive changes and prioritize well-being. Through determination and self-care, Mr. Nsima learned that his greatest asset in retirement was not the wealth he accumulated, but his health. A lesson he now shares with others to encourage them to make better choices before it's too late.
This podcast is sponsored and brought to you by HealthShare Integrated Solutions.